3, 2, 1, go. So, Crash Bandicoot, this is 100%. 100% means I'm going to get all bosses and all keys. It also means I have to beat all levels, but because level progress is tracked weird, you might notice weird things happening with the numbers. If you think I'm low on percentages at any point, please disregard. But other than that, for anyone who's not familiar with this game, it is one of the iconic PlayStation 1 platformers specifically. And this was the first of a series that, although has kind of died at this point, was a lot of fun when it first started out. The mechanics in this game are pretty simple. You have jump and spin, and everything else you just gotta make use of those two basic functions to do stuff. It's pretty much all platforming, and it's all very precarious. One thing to note about 100% is if I die, I have to restart the level. So I'm gonna not die because we want the gems. The gems get us an alternate ending, and that's what we're after. It's either save the girl or save the world, and we're here to save the girl. There's a few skips, like the one I'm about to go for. So right there, I just did some 3D platforming off the camera. You're supposed to come back there with the green gem, and that's slow because who wants to play this level twice when you can just jump up there and do it without looking. That's the easiest of the skips. There's some more difficult ones that I'm going to go for later, but basically I jumped off screen and broke boxes. Now the next level is the Great Gate. The Great Gate is another level that has a skip, and there are 3 outcomes. There's I succeed, I fail, and then I fail and die, which is the worst. Hopefully that one won't happen. But this skip, each of these skips saves, holy crap, saves about 1.5 minutes. So in record attempts, obviously you have to go for it. Since it's a marathon, I'm going to obviously go for it too, because failure is not as much of a punishment. But basically if I fail, that means I have to come back later once I get the gem. This gem is the yellow gem that's required, which comes from the last level in the game. So it's kind of slow to revisit this one, to say the least. Okay, I missed. That's the worst outcome, because I have to replay. If I had just landed on the platform, then obviously I just would have warped out and wouldn't have to redo this platforming. But this skip I usually get less than 20% of the time, and there's another one later that I'm going to go for which I get like 10% of the time in practice, so less than 10%. But definitely going to go for it. You know, someone was asking why Naughty Dog doesn't make new Crash games, and they don't own Crash, first of all. So, throwing that one out there. So the boulder levels, they seem simple, but I guess it's a good opportunity to talk about a technique called zigzagging. The boulder rolls faster than your base walking speed, so for a casual player, you're gonna have a boulder up your butt really quickly in this level. But there's a thing called zigzagging, which is basically I'm moving on diagonals to move at a faster speed. And you can kind of see it right there. I'm kind of shaking back and forth. That is the essence of zigzagging. And you can use it everywhere. If you're in the air, you go faster. So pretty much anytime you're jumping, you want to be doing it. So this is the first level that doesn't have a practical skip. There is technically a task skip for this level, which requires you to jump off of pixel perfect, essentially pixel perfect, whatever you want to define as the smallest unit of measurement in this game. But there are exact locations that you can jump and get double jumps, and you just barely can make it in a task. Double jumping in RTA is a little bit less practical. There's a few places where I do a delayed jump, which is part of a double jump. So I can fall off platforms and do jumps, but I can't do double jumps. This level requires the orange gem, which comes from Generator Room, which is much later in the game as well. So we'll have to come back here as well. The beginning of the game, there's a bit of like gathering gems and not gathering gems, but once you get to the third island, that's where it really takes it up a notch. This is just kind of yeah, it ramps up in difficulty, right? Like a lot of good platformers do. They start you off easy and then they get harder. This is, you know, that easier section of the game. There's fewer holes, more wide sections, and you'll see later there's a notable change in the level design. This level requires the blue gem. So, and then I'm dying because I'm on the US version, and in the US version, the dying after a checkpoint allows you to skip a little scene at the end that counts up how many boxes you missed. So it saves a few seconds, if you're wondering why I might be dying. Sneak through there. But most of this game is just being able to control your motion properly so that you can land in the right spot, which gets difficult since zigzagging, ideal zigzagging, you know, the way a task would do it is going to be alternating. So you're holding forward and you go left on one frame, right on the other frame, and that's how a task would do it, and you get insane speeds. And it's one of those things that you go faster by doing it, you know, more. So you just want to, as you get better, you can alternate faster and you can zigzag farther. And it's really not the speed that you gotta look out for. It's being able to control drifting in the air that is difficult. This is a hog level. It's the closest thing to an auto scroller this game's gonna have. You can definitely lose time, but it's hard to save any time here. Okay, there's a random glitch on some of the hog, like specific spots in the hog level. Where in this one you can die. In the next hog level you can just miss a box by charging through it. But fortunately, no issues. So this is the second of the fortress levels, well, gate kind of levels. And this one requires the red gem, so again, we will not be collecting boxes yet. But I'll try and do some nice jumps on this. There's a few things I can do to try and speed it up. Sneak under there. But let's see if I can do it here. There we go. So there's an air hop for you. Jumping off the air. Don't mind me. And then I've got a new strat for the top half of this. So I'm going to death abuse at a checkpoint, and then the new strat is for the section after. It's pretty cool, but it's pretty difficult, so we'll see what happens. Yeah. There's a random invisible walls that can get stuck there. But you only lose a cycle, it's just annoying more than anything. But here we go. Let's see if I can do this right. Failed right off the bat. So close. I'll go for it one more time, but you can beat that cycle. Alright, I'll play it safe. It's a really difficult cycle to skip. But some levels you can just go faster with the platforming. Others, like this one, you have to compensate. That you can't just go a little bit faster to save time. You have to beat the next cycle, and depending on how big the cycle is, you have to make up that much more just to save any amount of time, and it can be rather difficult at times. Tied world? No, I have world record. About 1 second world record. I improved my PB by 1 second, so yep. Yeah, someone mentioned it. I play on the US version just because it's more fun, but most people play on the Japanese version. The Japanese version's easier. It has parts of levels removed and simplified. Like these creek levels, all these obstacles are double the size, literally like length and width, just bigger, which makes it really easy. I don't know, at some point I might switch just for the sake of getting a good time on it, but audio and general gameplay, they have text boxes that are added every time you pick up well, like half the time you pick up an Aku mask, he talks to you, which interrupts play, and it's really annoying. It's faster overall, but I genuinely don't enjoy playing on the Japanese version as much. That exclamation mark was for those boxes back there. I hadn't gotten any snipes yet. That's the first really important snipe. Well, time-saving snipe that I go for. But as enemies and whatnot fly away, they can break boxes for you, which is kind of convenient. It has the new skipper. No, it doesn't have either of those levels. It saves 15 seconds. There was a 15-second gold split. I'll save that. I'll say that much. Like, I will always lose time on castle machinery. So here's Ripperoo, the second boss fight. The bosses in this game, some of the later ones aren't bad, but these beginning ones are really simple, especially since you can damage a beast through it. One thing to note is that bosses in this game give you 2 masks when you start out, and then you lose them at the end. So for the levels in between, you gotta route your mask strategically. Like, is getting 3rd mask form useful? Yes, in some places. So then you gotta think, is it worth the time to get those masks in the level? This one, for instance, has 2 masks. This first one I get more of a safety mask, but I don't usually lose it, and it does save time overall. If you were to not go for either mask in this level, you'd probably net 3 seconds slower or something. So safety mask, definitely worth it. So there's the mask off screen there, because obviously you'd be looking for masks off screen. There's mostly lives. That's the only off screen mask that I know of, but there's probably half a dozen lives off screen. Just sitting there. There's even a box off screen in one of the later levels. I'll point it out. You probably won't notice it when I break it, but I'll point it out. There's an off screen box though. It's shoutouts to Naughty Dog. I'm gonna be a little bit careful in the next section. I've been hitting earlier on a couple cycles than usual in some runs recently. Okay, that one worked perfectly. Sometimes I've gotten there and just like jumped down below instinctively, and there's no platform and I die, and I'm just like really confused. How did I get there that early? But fortunately, no issues. But again, a single death means I'm probably gonna have to restart the levels, and on levels like this one, it can be hugely detrimental. Yeah, someone in the chat commenting the change in the Naughty Dog franchise from platformers to story-driven action games. It's certainly interesting. It's kind of like the thing people are like, oh, I wish Naughty Dog would make a new Crash game. It's like, I don't really think that the current Naughty Dog would really make a platformer in the same way that you would want to see it done. Like, would they make a good game? More than likely. Would it be the game you want? I doubt it. Okay, let's sneak through that cycle, and we're sneaking through this cycle as well. So that, if I was having splits right now, that might be gold split if nothing goes wrong here, just because I got the invincibility and I got that cycle. That's a very uncommon cycle to make. Alright. Up next is the Road to Nowhere. This and the next level both cannot be done on the first pass. This one requires the red gem. There's a little rope hop for you. The ropes in this level are 3D objects. They're 2D planes, but you can stand on the top of planes, so might as well be 3D objects. So that's what I did there. It's not really advantageous to run up there for this level, and it's not for the other one either. I done it in any percent because if you can get up there it's easier, but now I'm more comfortable with these levels. There's no real need to, since I can zigzag while down here, and again, zigzagging is just basically moving faster than the intended base speed. And so up next is Boulder Dash. This is the second boulder level. This one requires the pink gem, so we'll be coming back to this one as well. But this one's has potential to be pretty cool on the revisit, so look forward to that. Again, zigzagging, it takes actually a lot more concentration, or I put more concentration into it than on other levels on this, just because I can actually over jump the platforms very easily, these pillars and whatnot, if I don't, space my jumps properly. You have you control the jump length by how long you hold X, so you can cut it short and whatnot, so that you don't fly off the end. You have to be particularly careful, because if you're cutting it short, you're not making the distance that you would need to justify cutting it short. You can end up short. But yeah, concentrating. There's some other mechanics that I probably won't really go into with the ledges, but you can use them to provide boosted jumps, which will be relevant in a few minutes. But here's Sunset Vista. This is the longest level in the game, and this is the level that you just don't want to go wrong. So I'm gonna concentrate just so that, hopefully nothing will be problematic while I'm here. There's nothing specifically too difficult about this level. It's just the fact that it overstays its welcome considerably. Okay. So that's that one cross section. The way this level is built, so you go all the way to the right, that we just did, and then you go up, which I'm doing right now, and then you go all the way to the left, which we're about to do, and then you go up another pretty much just as tall vertical section as this, and then you go right, and then you go up, and then you go right again. So not a bad level, but it's I do not want to screw this level up. Also, this level has the first Cortex bonus round. One thing you might be wondering is why I'm not doing bonus rounds. Brio bonus rounds don't do anything, so there's no point in doing them in a speedrun. There's a ton of bonus rounds. Ton of bonus rounds allow you to save level progress, which I'll delve into later why I don't have to do those. And there's Cortex bonus rounds, which give you keys that unlock secret levels. There's 2 of them, and I absolutely need these. Ooh, I was on top. I was not expecting to be on top. This is a really good cycle. So here's the Cortex bonus round. And the Brio bonus rounds are the more difficult bonus rounds. These aren't too challenging. Well, the second one's... I like the second one. This one's kind of boring, honestly. But, yeah, there that is. That got me a key. That key unlocks Whole Hog, which will be the second to last level we do. The last level will be the other secret level. Just the way the backtracks work, it's better to put them all together before doing the secrets, just because the secret levels are positioned later in the map. And so essentially I'll go back to the beginning and just kind of glance through and do all of them in a row that I have to do. So there we have it. That was actually a really good Sunset Vista. Again, I don't have splits running, but if I did, that would probably have been a green split, and I don't have much time to save on Sunset Vista. But that wraps up the first pass of the second island. We just have a boss fight left, Qualicon, and he's pretty chill. He skipped leg day a few days, but as a result, you just kind of have to hang out, let him do his thing. But Island 3 is where all the hype is, so be prepared for what's coming next. Only place in the game I really can stop and get a drink of water without, losing time. I'll do a TNT spin here. It's just for fun, but I'll do some of these later in the run more practically, but you can spin TNTs without getting hurt. It's pretty cool. And you can screw up, but fortunately these masks are going to go away anyway, so it doesn't matter if I have them or lose them. So, heavy machinery. So this is like a 2.5D style level, except for there's no invisible wall in the front. So we're gonna abuse that. Secret area, there's 3D range down into here, and now I'm just gonna run in front of the level, and this lets me not take damage from these guys. So as opposed to waiting a whole bunch of cycles, you know, trying to not take damage from them, I'm just gonna walk in front of them. And there's that. So that's really convenient. This used to be a really annoying level. That's Steam. Shoot, I tried to wait because I knew that Steam was going to pop up, and having 3 masks later in this level is really convenient. It's not the most mandatory thing, so it's not a huge setback, but it's preferable. 3D range again. So right here I'd have a mask and be able to break this tower a lot faster. Really not too much faster. That was actually really good. And I made that cycle, so not a huge time loss, really. Okay, so here's another 3D range for you. Or not. There we go. And then this section is pretty cool. You just spin the side of these springs and they let you go right on up. So the next level has an even more difficult skip than the one that I was able to do in the Great Gate. This one requires me to I don't know, hopefully I get the first jump. I have to do 2 incredibly precise, incredibly difficult jumps. And as long as I get the first one, you'll at least see it, the idea. But if I don't, we'll just... If I fail this, I'll end up, you know, just essentially it'd be like I death abused at a checkpoint and moved on. I'm probably gonna have to revisit this level, but maybe not. So, version differences, again, the PAL version, this skip is free. So if you're playing on the PAL version, you have a disadvantage, but both the Great Gate skip and this skip are very consistent. So you got that going for you. So here we go. We're going to jump over this hole by jumping off the wall, naturally. And then we got to do this area backwards. And do not break this bridge. Frick. Get rid of that mask because you do not want that invincibility. It's a very bad invincibility, by the way. And then jump in that same spot on the way back, which I failed. It's a really difficult trick. That's all I'm gonna say. Alright, next up is my personal favorite level, Generator Room. It's just a really cool level. Like, this whole island is awesome, but you can't beat Generator Room. So we made that cycle. Kind of forced my way up on that platform, and I was able to save a cycle from it. Almost got pushed off there. And there we have it. That's how you do generator room. Toxic waste. This is another cool level. This one's got some TNTs that need to be spun, hopefully. I've got 2 masks just in case. There's 2 TNTs, 2 masks, and worst case scenario, I'll have to use them both. But best case scenario, I'll have to use neither. It's kind of one of those, there's several levels like this that you'll see where there's they're built very 2D, but they're definitely 3D levels, and that's what makes them interesting. There we go, is the first spin. Because you can very much abuse the 3D range in this level, and that's, well, they're not as easy. It certainly makes the level easier overall. It's just harder to wrap your head around it when you're starting out. Alright, everybody's favorite boss coming up next. So everything in this room is bulletproof, if you were not aware. The chairs are bulletproof. The corners are bulletproof. And let's be honest, Pinstripe just can't aim. Jump through the ceiling there, just because why not? Alright, the high road, so again, with the version differences, commentary. In the Japanese version of this level, stops halfway through. I'll actually point out where the Japanese version ends on this level, and it's just because they thought it was too hard. Alright, it's a really cool level. Everyone else struggles with it so bad. I don't understand. I think the Japanese version ends right here. That, or it's right here. It definitely doesn't have this section though. I'm certain of that. Another rope hop for you. And there you have it. Is it my end that's messing up? Hopefully it'll fix itself. There's... Oops. So this is another of the notoriously difficult levels. It's a really cool theme, I think, but they actually cut out, originally they had 2 levels with this theme, and they cut out the second one for being too difficult. It's actually easier than this one, in my opinion. It's just longer. It has that Sunset Vista effect. But hopefully this one will cooperate and nothing will go horrendously wrong. Okay, coming up, I have to keep an eye out for this short stair cycle. This is definitely one of the more cycle-based levels where you just have to beat the cycle, and then at a certain point you're just riding. Like, you can arrive to certain points faster. Okay, dropped. That's what I thought. But if you don't catch a new cycle, like you're not a half cycle there early, and you didn't really save any time. But shoot, how do we want to do this? Failure. So I jumped when that platform was not out, just because I wanted to go quick. Again, if I die, I have to restart the level. I'm slowing down on the talking partially just because there's not too much to be said, but also just because I don't want to screw up again. Fun fact, his vials hitboxes don't exist as long as you're not spinning. Also, whether that stair will rise or fall, or either fall or be glitched up, is hard to predict. The only way you can be certain is if it's glitched up. And there's a really small window for when you can arrive for it to be glitched up. Otherwise, you're just guessing. So this is a really annoying jump right here, just because of the way these platforms rotate. You have to like curl out and around to actually land on platforms again. And there we have it. Next is Lights Out. It's the first dark level. Different from later Crash games, Aku's the light source in this one. He does diminish, so you have to replenish him with new masks. Also, I bonked into a ceiling that was way too low there. These archways are dumb. That's all that really needs to be said. Death Abuse, because this requires the yellow gem. And I chose that specific checkpoint just because the way it sets up the cycles. There's a pretty nifty jump that I'll go for in a, I don't know, a few seconds, I guess. So right here, you can jump through that backwards. And that cycle only works if you die at the first checkpoint, not the second. These axes don't really have hitboxes. They have damage hitboxes, but they don't have actual object hitboxes that affects your movement. So as long as you're spinning, you just cruise right through them. So this is Jaws of Darkness. It's the Temple Ruins counterpart, but this is the second longest level in the game. If you recall, Sunset Vista being the first. And to put it in perspective, this is the second level with a Cortex token, yet it is a full minute shorter than Sunset Vista. This one also has a blue gem route that's pretty elaborate. Fortunately, the blue gem was obtained earlier in the run, so yeah, we're just going to do this all in one pass. So, do a little bit of 3D platforming there. Snipe that box with that snake. Here's the off-screen box. If you missed it, it was off-screen. So this is the free mask, which is pretty cool. You know, free invincibility, can't complain. Makes a long lesson, to say the least. Okay, some zigzagging to get through there. One convenient thing about this game is that you can compensate height with distance, which is to say, if you're too low, you just can kind of push into it with some zigzagging. And it'll be like, you're a little bit farther than you actually currently are, so we'll just put you on top of this shelf. Another TNT spin. That gets us the second key. Ah, man. I was trying to sneak through there. You can sometimes sneak through early, but that's not a big deal. Up next is castle machinery. It's the counterpart to heavy machinery, but with more invisible walls. So if you saw that exit portal there, you can't jump across to it. You can ride the green gem that was there up to get a bunch of lives, but you would have missed the 24 boxes in the level. I think it's 24, it might be higher. 48? You got that bridge. It's 12 on its own. I don't remember. But here's a 3 range for this one. I guess we don't want... Why? That was really dumb. I really wanted that mask. So we're gonna have to play it super safe. Basically, there would have been an invincibility I'd be getting at the top of this climb that I'm not gonna get now. And it's super convenient because you can just kind of bounce through all this. I was just in a box. Don't ask me how, but I just was in a box. External damage used there. Not a big deal though. As long as I successfully get that bridge. You know, 1 mask is fine. I lose the mask after this level anyways, so use them or lose them. And there we have it. So up next is the final boss of the run. We will not actually fight Cortex. Again, it's save the girl or save the world. And we are electing to save the girl in this run. But Brio's a cool fight. Starts off by throwing these little slime blobs at you. You can spin them. You're supposed to bounce on them, I think, but spinning is much more simple. So now he's going to turn into the Hulk and rampage around a bit, but since we're a Bandicoot, that's not an issue. Just bounce on his head. Calm down. Calm down. And he does. Alright, the lab. This will be the last level before we turn back around. It's a pretty good level, I would say. The electricity, similar to the axes, you can just spin through it. Oh man, I screwed that up. I even got like ledge interaction that I could have saved it if I had known, but why would I have expected that to happen? So this room, I screwed up. I always go for that TNT spin, but usually I can beat the gate. Since I hit the gate trigger way early, I just didn't even bother dying. And then of course you can 3D range around these guys, which is cool. Just keep moving. Oh, holy crap, that dude. He's not usually that ready to go with the vials. Okay. And 3D range in this level is used pretty nicely because you can just dodge some of the cycles. But now we're turning around. The first thing we're going to do is get lights out, the gem from it, because it required the yellow gem, but it gives you the pink gem, and pink gem is another color gem that's required for other levels. Okay, so sometimes you can catch that cycle, and other times it's in a good spot. But right there, it was in just a really awful spot. Gotta wait a little bit. Alright, so we're gonna do this jump again. But for the yellow gem, you just take this path up, grab that mask, and then break these 3 boxes. Now we gotta go back to Cortex Power. Now, there was that potential for a skip, but unfortunately that didn't happen, so we gotta go back to this level. But don't be too disappointed, I don't get the Cortex Power skip in runs. I don't even bother going for it, because in its current state, it's too inconsistent. But the reason this one's here, actually, is just because of mask management. Just thinking the order of levels, because of the way that the map works, you scroll automatically forward when you beat a level, but the mask management is more important. So instead of going up that path, I'm gonna go down this one and do the gem route forward, the way it's supposed to be done. It's a lot easier this way, to say the least. Going backwards on this path is awkward. There, isn't that just much simpler as a revisit? It is. Oops. So the last level before we go back to Island 1 is gonna be Boulder Dash, and it's not technically necessary to do Boulder Dash here. It would actually be map management wise a little bit faster to do Whole Hog instead, but I'm gonna go for a really difficult skip in this one, which is pretty cool. If I know I'm gonna fail, I won't waste it, but I'm gonna try and get a skip at the end of this. So there's another TNT spin for you. That one is more optional, but I go for it just for fun. Okay, there's no chance of me making this skip. I was zigzagging a little bit too slow. Me being tired probably can be blamed for that. But yeah, like you can move so fast that you can ride that gym down before the boulder gets there, and it's pretty cool. Oops. But unfortunately that didn't work. I can usually track its position from the pillars and whatnot, and so it was clear that there was no chance of success. So now we're going back to the Great Gate. I have one mask, so this will be fine. You want to come here at least with at least one mask, and that is exactly what I have, so it works. So, since unfortunately I was not able to jump on the exit portal, we're gonna have to jump around it with the gems this time. It's not nearly as difficult, but at least get to see the rest of the level, I guess. It's actually faster to do this level without the gems in the way. But yeah, so you would normally jump on the very edge of the perimeter of that platform to be able to make it across, which is very difficult to do, to say the least. There's a box here. One of the few boxes in the game that automatically picks up what it drops. Like it adds it to your inventory. Except for stacked boxes, there's not a lot of boxes that actually do that. So, anybody concerned that I'm only at 29%? If so, relax. Trust me on this one. upstream. You don't want that invincibility, because you end up just having to wait to pick up the mask, and then you wait on the cycle, and then you do nothing with it. Invincibilities in these Greek levels are largely useless. But here's another part of the gym path. I didn't point it out, but there was gems underneath the bridge earlier. But there's also this whole section back here. Annoying. So now I have to wait. And there's that. Next is the jungle, or yeah, Rolling Stones revisit. This one has a hole that we have to climb down into to grab the missing boxes. I'm leaving masks behind because it's actually faster to not pick up any masks on this level. Well, not get any invincibilities at least. As such, I'm gonna damage abuse there, which was... that's interesting. I honestly didn't expect that to happen. Usually I snipe it such that I get the mask and those TNTs blow up all in one motion. I kind of messed it up there. So here's that gem that takes us into the hole. All I have to do is touch it. There you go. There's your 6 boxes. Have a nice day. There we go. So, Native Fortress revisit wraps up the first island. I'm not going to go for that strat that I died on a few times earlier. I would at some point like to be consistent enough that I could consider it in 100%, but for now I'm going to leave it in the 80% playthrough. Oops. There we go. Bit awkward to eat that bouncy box sometimes. Alright, so here's the secret route for the red gem in this level. We're just gonna bounce up here for a little bit, get that box, and then come over here and pick up some boxes. And fall back down. Alright, there we go. Island 1. The revisits are done. Now we just got a few more levels. I think there's only 4 more. 3 more? 1, 2, 3. Yeah, only 3 more. So we're definitely getting close to the end. So this time through we're grabbing invincibilities. And not sure if I explained it. Invincibility lets you walk faster, but it doesn't really affect your air movement speed. So you can zigzag pretty strong both with and without it. It makes no real difference. It's only while you're walking on the ground that the invincibility has an effect. So TNT spin. And that's gonna be pretty close to the last of the masks or the lives. We might end up with 94, 95. But we're going to be a bit short in the 99 lives cap. Which is something that's actually been happening lately. Just by me not even paying attention to lives. Playing more aggressively, playing faster. I don't always hit it, and it's not something that upsets me. Just a lot of people used to enjoy me hitting 99 lives. So there's an invisible bridge at the end here, if anyone was uncertain. It's there, you just can't see it. Up next is, so that's the last of the revisits actually. So we got the 2 secret levels remaining. So you haven't seen either of these yet. First one being Whole Hog. Now this hog level has a 1 box that sometimes cannot be broken. Let's hope that does not happen. Nope, we broke it. So that's good. there we have it. That level fortunately made no trouble for me, which is good, because when whole hog goes wrong, it goes wrong. There's no small mistakes in whole hog. But up next is the last level, Fumbling in the Dark. It's the harder version of Lights Out, and yeah, after Fumbling in the Dark, I just gotta trigger the alternate ending. But Naughty Dog put 7 boxes in the front of this level, and your only clue that they're there is when you complete the level 100%, and there's 7 boxes missing, and you're like, I bet they put it in front of the level. It's pretty cool if you think things that aren't cool are cool. Otherwise, it's just annoying. Again, you can spin through the axes, as they've hitboxes that prevent your motion. They only can hurt you as long as you're not invincible. And spinning lets you at least be invincible to them. Spinning doesn't give you immunity to everything, but it does grant you some resistances. There we have it. It's Fumbling in the Dark for you. So now we just gotta go around here to the Great Hall. We'll spice this one up still. You know, gotta have your 3 ranges, gotta have the zigzag. Save time somehow. Even if it's just a second, might as well squeeze those frames out. But here it is with the time. Fun fact, you can still view stuff from the credits, which is not possible on any percent, but that is 100% for you. If you're confused where the 100% came from, when I got the 26th gem from Fumbling in the Dark, it jumped from 35% to 100%. And that's because there's 64% that you get from completing the bonus rounds. But they threw in a check that says, if you get all the gems and keys, here's your bonus round percentages for free. So that's where all that time came from. But thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Enjoy the rest of the marathon. But I really need to go to bed. So